Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Scholar ChitChat. I'm your host, Joanne, and today we'll be talking about a topic so many students worry about, which is transitioning courses from graduate school. Okay, so maybe you have done your undergraduate in, let me say, public health. You're thinking to go into maybe nutrition for your master's, and you are scared. You're thinking maybe it won't be possible. Today's episode will be telling you that it's possible. So if you are new here, this is Scholar ChitChat podcast. Here we're committed to bring in relevant information about scholarship, study abroad, funding, and just navigating graduate school entirely. And if you are a returning listener, welcome back. We're glad to have you back. And to help us unpack this, we are joined by someone with a truly unique academic journey. You get to know why I said truly unique academic journey when he introduced himself. So I'll just let him introduce himself. Doctor, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Joanne, and thank you for inviting me to make some input on this.
We're glad to have you, sir.
My name is Akinkunmi Okekunle. I studied at the University of Jos. Precisely, I studied biochemistry. From biochemistry, I navigated to studying human nutrition and precisely public health. And in public health, for masters, and after which I transited to study for a PhD, precisely in nutrition epidemiology. Scope of research has transcended from global health, population health, as well as evaluating dire disease associations across diverse populations all over the world. Currently, I am an independent researcher. Briefly worked, my PhD experience, my bachelor's and master's experience took me to Jos and Ibadan, University of Ibadan, Nigeria. But my PhD experience is in China through the Chinese Scholarship Council, after which I had a one-year postdoctoral fellowship as the first postdoc funded by the Postgraduate College, University of Ibadan, Nigeria. From there, I was also a postdoctoral fellow at the Seoul National University in Korea, where I was promoted to an assistant professor before coming to the National Institute of Aging in the United States as a researcher. So, I think that is sufficient. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, so while you were speaking, I was just holding myself from clapping, but I think I'll have to clap. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have you. Thank you very much. Okay, so you have transitioned across few different but connected fields, that's from biochemistry to public health, and then finally to nutrition science. I want to say that's not a small journey at all. So what motivated each switch? Like, at what point did you say, okay, I'm moving from biochemistry to public health? Was it like a passion you had, or you just, what was it for you that made you switch from biochemistry? I know a lot of people who do biochemistry in their undergraduate, and then they want to still do maybe biochemistry masters also. So what motivated you to switch from biochemistry to public health and then to nutrition science?
So before I answer your question, let me correct an impression. And it's a problematic impression in our society.
Yes, sir.
You see, science is science.
Yes, sir.
Global health, anything related to health.
Yes,
The
sir.
best thing that ever happened to me in the university was to study biochemistry as my first degree. Because
I agree with you.
that opened my eyes to a number of opportunities. But
Yes,
the
sir.
dilemma in our setting is the fact that we have fragmented these disciplines and separated them. And we have not seen how they are interconnected with each other. One of the mentors I have observed over the years, who is currently in Harvard University as a faculty, actually, who is the nutrition epidemiologist, they studied chemistry as first degree. And, from chemistry, she moved into nutrition epidemiology. That would never happen in a set. Now, you see, the issue is the fact that when you pick all of the medical sciences or life sciences, they are interwoven. So,
I agree.
they are not separated. But we have separated that in our society, and we are not, there is no sense of cohesion or equilibrium to solve some of the health challenges that we have. So for me, while I was in school, initially I was reluctant to actually study biochemistry. But when I went through biochemistry, particularly in my 300 level when we started studying pathways,
Yes, sir.
the glycolytic pathway, glucose metabolism, the protein
Yes, sir.
metabolism, amino acid metabolism.
Amino acid.
And I began to see that, and I began to observe that actually changes or alteration in diseases outcomes that we see happens at the molecular level.
Yes.
And that fascinated me. Why did it fascinate me? Was because most of these changes has to do with dietary factors, especially
Mm.
what we call essential nutrients. And from there, I told myself, I want to know more about what happens to people, about what they eat, and it affects their health. At that time, I didn't know anything about population health or population-based studies or epidemiology.
Yeah.
But I was looking at it, if all of these markers changes, we call it one error of metabolism, those kind of things. If these things are happening at the molecular level, is there evidence that if we put these populations together based on the type of diet they are exposed to, can we discern whether they are at risk of a particular disease or not? And from there,
Mm.
I decided
Yeah.
I decided to study for public health and precisely in nutrition. That's a different story entirely, the challenges I went
Um.
through. But
um,
it was a rewarding experience for me. And there is nowhere I've been in the world whereby I've not been able to combine effectively my background in biochemistry, which is very, very strong. It gives me a
Yeah.
solid base to move into any area of global health. So apart from the fact that I'm primarily a nutrition epidemiologist, I also work on sleep health. I work on how smoking affects health outcomes and some
No.
non-communicable diseases and things like that. So for
No.
me, these disciplines that we talk about, biochemistry, physiology, anatomy, they are actually the foundation that is critical, that gives you opportunity of influence to diversify. Because if you don't have that foundation, whatever you diversify into, you might eventually have some challenges which you might
Yeah.
overcome if you are willing. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I'm willing to
It did. It
take
did.
that again. Thank
Like,
you.
yeah, thank you very much. Like what you said, because I studied biochemistry also. So most times when I 100 level, 200 level, I was like, am I sure this is what I want? Is biochemistry really it for me? So it was when I get to 300 level that I realized how interesting biochemistry is. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, so a lot of students are scared that switching fields make them look unserious or confused. Because where we are from, most times, if you say you are doing this course and then you want to go to it will look like you're not serious or you don't know what you are doing. So you kind of answered the question, but I'll just ask, is it truly possible to switch field without
Very,
like
very possible.
yes.
Very, very possible.
So how did your previous degree help with the next one?
So just like I said, everything that for me as a global health researcher and a public health scientist, whatever happens to anybody's health, primarily those changes start gradually at the molecular level. And with my background in biochemistry, that has afforded me that skill to understand pathways and be able to discern pathophysiology of health outcomes. Now,
Okay.
when I moved into public health and precisely with emphasis on human nutrition, I had to also learn some skills,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
example, dietary assessment, dietary
No.
surveys, I had to also learn about research methodology, how we
No.
conduct research in populations. In some cases, I also learned about community mobilization and things like that. But the interesting thing was the fact that I was not afraid. I was determined to look forward in hope and get those skills and apply those skills for my previous
Mm.
training and current training and use that to forge ahead into
Yeah.
my goal, which was necessary. So it is not impossible. It is not impossible. As a matter of fact, I had colleagues who, well, this is a digression, but it's very important. I've had colleagues who
Mm.
studied chemistry in the university and they did well. It's not as if they failed, but you felt that no, it's not chemistry that I want. I want to
Yeah.
study law. As I speak
Oh.
today, this my friend is he holds a PhD in law today, because he was very good in debating at that point. You understand? He was very good, was always winning awards when we were undergraduates, and
Yeah.
he finished his chemistry, he dumped it. He went to study law and he did excellently well. As a matter of fact, he was a first-class candidate of law from the University of Ibadan
Oh,
at that time. So it is not impossible. The question has to do with your passion, your interest, and why does it matter to you? You know, I've given my own example,
yeah.
my friend's example. So it is not out of it impossible, but the question is what drives your passion. Now, the other thing is this: you must also be well guided by experienced hands. You understand what I'm trying to say? So
No.
there are people that their passion is not actually so there are people I know they have studied biochemistry, but those pathways look confusing to them. But they are still interested. But their
Yeah.
passion is not actually to do that. They want to do something laboratory based. That is also possible. You have to be well guided and you have to evaluate yourself. First, you have to evaluate yourself very well and be sure, is this what you want to? And
Mm,
second, what path will you take? So, you see, there is nothing impossible for a mind that is desperate to get answers. So, for me, I would say that there is nothing. It depends on your passion. It depends on your interest. And if you have to do that, you must be well guided.
mm,
Starting from ground zero, well, there is no straightforward answer to that because just like I said for my friend who trained as a
yeah.
chemist and moved into law, he had to go and take another first degree in law. From law,
Yeah.
from first degree, he had a master's and a PhD. That's what I'm trying to
Oh,
say. For me, in my own case, a background does not permit me to start from ground zero because I'd already have some basic skills. I
yeah.
needed additional skills, particularly related to public health. But starting from ground zero is not the problem as what your passion is.
I
Because
agree.
whether you start from ground zero or not, if you don't have passion in that and you move into it, maybe because of pressure, maybe because of, oh, that's the reigning thing, you will lose out. But is it your passion? Is it your interest? And what is the path to forge? And when you understand it and
Mm,
you are able to count the cost, then you can move. There is nothing impossible. You will do it and do it excellently. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I mean, that's why Scholar ChitChat is here to help guide students that are thinking of transitioning or thinking of making applications for graduate school, but they don't know how to go about it. We have amazing guests that would help. Yeah, so you've answered the next question I wanted to ask, where you mentioned that you had to acquire skills. You have to acquire skills for that will be useful for you during your master's. Yeah, so I'll just go to the next question. Okay, now let's talk about essays and statements of purpose or motivation letters you wrote when you're applying for your master's and maybe your PhD. Now, how did you connect your previous degree to the next one when you were writing these essays? How did you show that this thing I've done before will help me in this course I'm going for next?
Again, Joan, thank you for your question.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
this is something very, very, very simple, but yes, complex in approach. So
Okay.
I will give my own personal example first and also speak generally second.
Mm,
For me, for masters, I didn't have much to write statement of purpose because we're under the assumption that we're just coming out from school as an undergraduate, so you would not have known much about, particularly you're coming from a different field in biochemistry. So that really was not a major issue. But at some point, after my first and second semester, my professor mentioned then that should write a statement of purpose and statement of research. So with that statement, with our training within the first years of the masters, I was able to write a statement of purpose and what I was interested to do by the reason of that
okay.
discipline. So, and how did I do that? The first thing which my thesis was based on was evaluating diet among and quality of life among women of reproductive age, whereby we're looking at what women eat and how it affects their BMI and
Okay.
quality of life. So my interest then was primarily making emphasis on how micronutrients from diet, how does it help the body mass index as well as the quality of life of women. I got that based on the principle of also from biochemistry, where I understand that this nutrient actually plays a lot of role in the biochemical pathway. You understand what I'm trying to say? And on the basis of that, I wrote. Now, I wrote from a theoretical basis. You understand what I'm trying to say? And that worked because that was the level of knowledge I had at that point. So, and that's one of the things I want you to know. The statement, how you write a statement of purpose is also based on your experience. Yeah, it is a certain level for a professor, it is a certain level for graduate student because there are key things that are expected. But for my PhD, something different happened because I was applying for a scholarship under the China Scholarship Council.
Mm.
I wrote my statement of purpose based on what I did, based on my master's thesis. You understand what I'm trying to say? And my
Yes, sir.
background in biochemistry. Now, the first thing that I did was the fact that to demonstrate capacity that I have had the adequate prerequisite educational training to be able to take the PhD degree. The
Mm.
second thing that I did in transitioning was the fact that I was able to write based on my thesis, what I did for my master's thesis, to write, and demonstrated that these are the skills that I have had, which can also be applicable in for the PhD program. You understand what I'm trying to say? So
Mm.
most of us write blank statements of purpose. I studied biochemistry from University of Jos. I have masters. No, what does that mean? Everybody has, most of the candidates that you are competing for that same academic position or a PhD position has the same qualification. What makes you distinct? So for me, and one of the things I did with my statement of purpose was the fact that I also emphasize that I have already published my master's thesis in a peer-reviewed journal. So, you see, your statement of purpose is not just arbitrary, so to speak. It is something that carries weight, that is on paper, that somebody who does not know you is reviewing, who wants to know how your skill, your training, and your interest matches with the position, or to be specific, with the PhD position you are applying for. So let me
Mm.
give you an example. Some of us are taking our bachelor's project. Oh, let's just do project for doing sake. What can you do that is different? And you want
Mm.
you if you know that you have intention to study abroad, that's your bachelor's degree project that you have done. Ensure work with your supervisor to publish it, even if it is in a local journal. It is very relevant to demonstrate capacity that
Yes.
you have at least an evidence of scientific writing skill. The same thing for those applying for masters. Oh, I just done this masters. I don't even like it. But you want to do something. Nobody will
Mhm.
listen to you. Anybody evaluating you will want to see what you have done within the ambit of the resources you have. And that will demonstrate to them not only capacity, it will also demonstrate to them your possibility of achieving what you say you want to do for the PhD. So
Mm.
the statement of purpose is not just about, this is what I want to do. It's about looking at your academic training, looking at your skills, looking at what you have achieved with your skill, and putting all of those things together. Are you getting my point? Crafting it to suit the call for that application for a PhD or for that department. So another thing most of them know, when you write a statement of purpose, some schools have specific interests that they look at. So,
Yeah.
for example, if you are writing a statement of purpose for a nutrition epidemiology studies, but you are writing a statement of purpose on animal-based studies, you are making a mistake. Because in
Mm.
such kind of university or in such kind of department of that university, they are more or less interested in population-based studies, human population-based studies. But whereas you are writing on molecular levels of dietary assessment and things like that, you will miss the point out. So your statement of purpose has a lot to do with your skill, your academic training, and what have you achieved with it to demonstrate capacity for suitability. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that rich answer. I appreciate you, sir. Okay, to the next question. Looking back, will you say there was any point where you felt like your previous degree made things either harder or easier for you?
Well, frankly speaking, my previous degree in biochemistry made things easier for me because when I was coming into nutrition, when people were just evaluating, when people eat this kind of thing, it affects this.
Yeah.
I go into literature to look at to evaluate what has been said how this diet and what it contains can affect this health outcome. So my background actually biochemistry really, really helped me. I must say that. Really, really
Oh,
helped. And
mm.
I'm not ashamed to say that it really, really helped. Also,
That's it.
but I must also add some people also find their background very hard. Like
Yeah,
I said, my friend who studied chemistry and law, they are two different
yeah,
something. But
yeah,
the question is not whether it makes it hard or easy. The question is, what can you make out of what you have to get to where what
mm, mm, mm. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so the next question. What would you say was your biggest challenge, that if you had any, during the process of transitioning from biochemistry to public health?
So, thank you again, Joan, for this time and interaction.
Mm,
Well, on a personal basis, I don't have any challenge, I must tell you. Maybe I can say that what you call challenge for me is an opportunity. And what do I mean by that?
mm,
I had to read a lot when I was studying nutrition, to
yeah,
understand how population and global health works. And that really helped me for my PhD. It gave me a roller coaster. It gave me a huge, strong foundational base. So I had to
yeah,
read a lot. I had to extend the network of my influence. I had to, for my master's, it took me a lot of time to consult literature, to learn new knowledge. So maybe that is hard for some people too. Sometimes it can be draining, but I see it as an
yeah,
opportunity. So I don't see. But on the other hand, well, this is an institutional thing that I've observed in our setting, and I think things are likely to be changing if it has not changed. It is the fact that
mm,
when you transition from fields, it makes you an orphan, an academic orphan. What do I mean by that? Somebody's transitioning from biochemistry into nutrition. If you are looking for an academic position, for example, or you are looking
yeah,
for, or you are looking, or you are interested in a position that is maybe primary nutrition or biochemistry. There is this mentality in asserting that, oh, this person cannot work here, cannot work in biochemistry because his master's is in nutrition, and he cannot
yeah,
work in nutrition because his bachelor's is in biochemistry. I think those are
mm,
institutional bureaucracies for me that give some of us challenge in trying to deposit, our skills in
mm,
relevant educational institutions in a setting. So for me, I
mm,
would like that to change because, academic training and research has gone beyond this is my discipline, I'm in charge of my discipline. It is
yeah,
interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. And if we have that insight, if we take that insight, all of these institutional bureaucracies that makes people who transition across you look like, oh, they don't have anything here or there, will fizzle out. For me, by
mm,
God's grace and divine privilege, there is no way I can fit in. So it's, as a matter of fact, one of my mentors I met in Korea at that time was very, 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 very interested in the fact that I had to move across disciplines, which
yeah,
gave me, well, an extended scope, and well-rounded foundation, global health research. So for me, I really would not say I have a huge challenge transitioning. But the challenge I've experienced in our society is about the institutional bureaucracies that does not allow people with multidisciplinary backgrounds to fit into our academic and research settings. Thank you.
yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the answer. Okay, so what do you think are some common mistakes students make when they are trying to switch between fields, and how can they avoid them?
That's a good question. Well, the common mistake, for one thing, the root of every common mistake for students in switching is stems from interest. So let me give you an example. Somebody wants to study medicine
Yeah.
and surgery, and he found himself in biochemistry. And by the time he got into biochemistry, he has lost interest because that was not his vision. And by the time he will while away time with biochemistry, he realized that his cumulative grade point average cannot take him anywhere. And at the end of the day, that student is stranded. So it's a foundational thing about interest in our society. I know these things are complex and they are not straightjacketed answers, but this is
Mm,
what I think. and this will be my advice, it is better you are self-aware of yourself early and your interests before moving to graduate school. So let me give you an example. If that person that I mentioned hypothetically studying biochemistry, eventually by the time he was about to finish biotech, he was completing biochemistry wounded, having a lower degree and things,
Yeah.
things like that. If you take that into graduate school, it will maim you. Because in graduate school, your transcript will be evaluated. So what I tell people is this: if you know that what you are studying currently is not your interest, and you are sure it's not that you are lazy or you are belligerent, it is advisable that you strategically maybe change course or pull out and reassess your strength. Because graduate school, undergraduate is your performance in undergraduate is very important in graduate school. And most people don't know that. Except
Mm.
maybe you study something different in undergraduate, and you are switching field in graduate school on the basis of your work experience. So
Mm.
let me give you an example. Somebody studied biochemistry now as a first degree, but his experience over the years has been in implementation science. What about as
Mm.
in
Mm.
evaluating interventions, evaluating so many interventions and also community-based approaches to study. If that person moves into maybe psychology, you understand what I'm trying to say? That person is not likely to have a
Yes, sir.
problem because they already have some level of experience, experience that could be complemented by the academic training
Mm.
in graduate school. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Mm.
Anybody evaluating that person will not only evaluate their academic records, they will also evaluate their work experience, which can also be included in the statement of purpose. And any courses that is not available, you only need to take it. That is what we in senior clients, that is
Yeah.
what happens. You understand what I'm trying to say? So,
Yes,
but
sir.
because the emphasis here is on graduate school, that is why I said your foundation in undergraduate is very, very. So, switching fields, what is your interest? What have you made out of your undergraduate education? So, another thing, as far as assessing is also concerned, but that is also applicable in other places in the world, is the fact that
Mm.
in assessing, reviewers tend to look at, does your undergraduate training match with your current interest in graduate school? So I know these things
Mm.
are complex, they are nuanced in assessing, there are a lot of barriers. But first and foremost, just like I always said, what is your interest? I know people who study mathematics in Nigeria. They are doing well in computer science and artificial intelligence, and data science and things like that. But I don't think I don't think we have come to
Mm.
that point in Nigeria yet. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Without ostentation to assess it, the point I'm trying to make is the fact that it has to be from you. And what you
Mm.
make out of your undergraduate is very, very important. Even if it's not something that you'll be interested in doing, make the best out of it. Because
Mm.
it is important in laying a good foundation for you when you want to switch fields
Yeah.
for graduate studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the answer. Okay, so let's just move straight to the next question. What misconceptions do people have about switching fields, and what do you think need to be corrected?
There are several misconceptions ranging from cultural thinking, the relevance and things like that. There are the golden geese courses. I'm sure you know in Nigeria.
Yes.
So I will not mention names, and the people who don't find themselves in those golden geese courses tend to, I can't make anything out of it. So let me go and do something related to this golden geese. I think that's also a misconception that is very, very important. So for example, because biochemistry is also my strong point, I can speak to that. If you study biochemistry, you have a lot of opportunities that you can make out of it as somebody who studied medicine and surgery. It depends on what you can see. It depends
Mm.
on it depends on what interests you. The second thing about the misconception is it's about fear. There is a lot of fear from people. Well, fear also are culturally ingrained, in
Mm.
by the fact that, oh, if I do this now, will I be able to get a job? This kind of thing. Will I
Yes.
be able to, although I like this, will I be able to get a job? But you see, my understanding in getting a job is, for me, my understanding is the fact that if you are very good in what you do, you will get a market for it, and that will
Mm.
give you a job.
Mm.
If you are
Mm.
good, you get a market for it. And when I mean a market is the fact that it's that you get people interested in what you are doing, or you get somebody willing to, or which will be willing to offer you a job, in the direction of what you are doing. But
Mm.
if you don't have that interest, don't put yourself under that pressure. The problem is about having the right interest.
Mm.
You know what I'm trying to say? Apart from
Mm.
fear, apart from our perception about the golden goose courses, the what do you call it? The question is about getting the right interest. Why do you want to do it? Is it because your friend is doing it? Is it because that's the trending thing? Of course,
Mm.
there's a trending thing going on now, artificial intelligence, data science, and things like that. Is it because it's trending or because you that is your passion? Or you have created a niche for yourself to solve a problem that could, attract a market for you. You understand what I'm trying to say? So
Mm.
that's just a few things I can mention because there are also context specific
Mm.
misconception when you talk to people, when I counsel people and talk to them about graduate studies and making
Yeah.
academic choices. So I think
Mm.
those three things stands out for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So the next question, what advice do you have for our listeners who are scared or worried about maybe going from biochemistry to maybe One Health? What advice do you have for them? Maybe they are scared that they won't be able to do well in this.
Well, thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Well, for those who are scared or worried about transitioning, the first question I will ask, what is the root of that fear? What is the root of the fear? What do I mean by that? Somebody might be scared because of the challenges they want to face.
Yeah.
I've studied first degree. I was giving you the story of that, my friend who
Yeah.
finished chemistry and went to law. Will I go and spend another 4 years in school, 5 years in school, go to law school and things like that? The question I will ask is, are you better off current circumstance? Some other people may have fear of funding. Oh, how will I fund this? How would this be funded if I move? There are ways to also address that. The first thing is to understand the root of your fear. And when you understand the root of your fear, there is always a solution. So one of the solutions I will offer is this. When you are worried, look for a mentor in that field and take guidance from them. Look for a mentor. There are a lot of literature online today. Are you
Mhm.
getting my point? About so
Mm.
many things. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's any discipline that you cannot get anything about in Google. Do some of those things might not be correct, even in even in ChatGPT and all of the what you call
Yeah.
AI models. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So, so, but if you have any form of phobia, I've told you that what is the root of the fear? What is the root of
Yeah.
if you have any form of phobia, the first thing is why not look for somebody somebody that's, has achieved what you are trying to achieve
Mhm.
and relate to the person, ask questions. I get a lot of invitation online from people say, oh, this is what I want to do. Can you advise me? And there's a lot of platforms to do that. The Facebook is there. You see a lot of people. Of course, maybe the
Mm.
Facebook is not a professional platform like LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn is there.
Mm.
You can read people's profile, write to them, and say, "Oh, I would like to," things like that. And you also have people also locally in a setting which you can relate to it. That is the first thing. The second thing, which is going to be on a personal basis, is the fact that I will make a saying this. It is a fool that sells what he has for what he cannot lose. Do you get the statement? If you think that by getting afraid or getting scared will prevent you from transitioning, the question is, what difference will it make if you don't do that transition? Particularly in the line of your interest and your goal. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So, what I'm trying to say in essence is you don't have to be afraid on a personal basis. Sometimes you need to overcome your fear to get to your destination. But there are genuine, if there are genuine concerns or you need an understanding, date with people, study, look online, what you want to do, ask questions from people who are well experienced. And I think by the time all of those things are laid out, you will be fine and you will discover that your fears are
Mhm.
unfounded. And I like to say that
Mm.
they should also be persistent and never give.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that answer. Okay, so the next question is after someone has been able to overcome the fears, what are the first 3 realistic steps you think they should take? Okay, I've been able to overcome this fear. I'm now bold. I'll do this. So, what are like the first 3 steps they have to take to achieve their goal? That's when
So,
transitioning.
so thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Now, and I believe that you're speaking with respect to graduate studies,
Yes,
studying
yes,
abroad
sir.
and things. You have to be resilient. And what do I mean by
Mm,
resilient? You have understood this. Oh, this is what you want to do. Please don't open all right. Doors don't open naturally until you are resilient and persistent. And what do I mean by that? When you have discovered, oh, you want to switch fields, start looking for people or researchers or professors. Are you getting my point? In that area
mm,
of that field and carve a niche for yourself from their area of interest. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But let me give you an example. So for me now, I wanted to work. I had a biochemistry background and a PhD in nutritional epidemiology. So I was looking out for professors with laboratories based on population health and nutrition epidemiology. I go ahead to
mm,
study their articles, to study their publications, what they have done, what their strengths and the skills are, the kind of resources they have in their labs. And then I use that to tailor my statement of purpose to suit their
mm.
interests. You understand what I'm trying to say? So let me give you an example of my PhD study.
Yes,
PhD
sir.
studies, I was looking at dietary amino acids and amino acid in the bloodstream. We call it metabolomics. I've not done anything related to that. You understand what I'm trying to say? Some people have such works or such studies have been done in other populations. And by the reason of my school, I felt, I suggested this. I wrote that statement of purpose to my thesis advisor, and it worked fine. You understand what I'm
Mm,
trying to say? The
yes.
first thing is the fact that you must be resilient submitting applications and things like that. And when you have submitted the applications, be looking out for professors who are in your area of interest you want to move into in graduate school. Read what they
Mm,
do, understand their strengths, understand their research background and the kind of things they do, and write in a way that their interests also match with your interest.
mm.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Two, I also suggest that seek for funding, open funding that allows you, to achieve that goal. There are several open fundings in different schools, different countries,
Mm,
rather, sorry. You look at, suggest those open fundings to those people as an opportunity to get into their lab. You know what I'm trying to say? And by
yeah.
that, you can get into the graduate studies if you are admitted for those open funding. Or even if some of them have non-open funding that they can take international students, that will be fine. But you must be able to craft a good idea. You understand what I'm trying to say? And that was the first thing I said.
Mm,
Your ability to craft a good idea. Look for people in that field you want to move to in graduate school. Look at what they do. Look at your own interests and see how it matches. That is crafting a good research idea. When you have crafted that good research idea, be looking for open funding calls locally and internationally that can suit that funding, research idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so it's the next and final question. If you had...
Oh, can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Hello, sir?
Yes, I missed you. I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. I said the last question.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but I was not hearing you clearly. Hearing you.
I didn't hear you at all.
Okay, can you hear me now? Let me ask the question again.
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. I said, finally, if you had to summarize your entire transition journey in one sentence, what will it be?
Wonderful. Gracious.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's for me, my transition journey it's not been smooth, but something I've enjoyed. And I have never had in it. And I'm not making it as a political statement. I'm making it as the truth, because that helped me in so many ways. It has given me a huge academic. So, because that is my own interest. What I tell people is, what is your interest? Is that what you like to do? Create that niche for yourself. An opportunity will come your way if you are not lazy. If you are not lazy, rather. So, you must not give up.
So, sorry, let me just add quickly. Do you think is possible for someone that has maybe a public health undergraduate background to switch to biochemistry?
That is a big question. So it depends on what is the content of what is the curriculum of the public health background. So that is very, very important. You see, and that is why there is no general answer to this. If you want to switch, you see, now the challenges actually are in our setting. There is no problem if you want to do that anyway. If you study public health and you think you want to do some courses in biochemistry, what is usually done is you think doing some courses in biochemistry won't interest you. What is usually done in saying clients is look at the courses this person has taken in public health. Which courses are short? Which courses are relevant to biochemistry to have a foundation in what we call biochemistry? So it's possible actually, but you must have in mind, it's possible, but you must have in mind that your transcript for your undergraduate education is going to be evaluated. And when it is evaluated, you'll be advised these are the courses you should take, these courses you should take, these are the courses that will help you to have a solid knowledge, in biochemistry and combine that with public health. So, but I'm not sure how well we currently do that in Nigeria, I can't say. But in same climes, you know that is not going to be a problem. So there are two ways most times to that what do you call it? It's either you entirely take a new undergraduate degree or let you audit some courses. And when you are taking those courses or auditing it, you take it to other students. And you have a well-rounded knowledge in your area of the interest. So that's my input for that.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your story and for giving us almost 1 hour of your time today. We appreciate. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you. And to our listeners, I hope this episode gives you the courage to pursue that field that truly aligns with your passion. Scholar ChitChat will continue to bring you relevant conversations, information that will equip you with the information, guide, and inspire you and prepare you for that your academic journey. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and send this episode to that friend that keeps asking, can I switch courses? Until next time, keep striving and stay inspired. Thank you.